All right, Nick, let's talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks. Gamecocks, really great season this year for them. I think they're on the cusp of breaking into that college football playoff. They're right there, they're in the mix. The team they beat at the end of the season, the Clemson Tigers, were able to get in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, Carolina doing a lot of really strong things. They've done some really strong things in the recruiting game, getting 5 stars. Shane Beamer has done a fantastic team with this Gamecocks team, but he doesn't stop there. They go out, hit the transfer portal hard too, and get a really great player out of there. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But before we go there, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, Gamecocks, great season overall, great recruiting class. And what do? They go out and compile that with a great transfer portal get as well. Let's get into the tweet and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on 3 Sports. Hayes Fawcett, one of the greats at breaking all of your recruiting and transfer portal news. This is breaking Texas A&M transfer D lineman Gabriel Brownlow Dindy has committed to South Carolina. He tells on the Sports. The 6'4", 300-pound defensive lineman was ranked as a 5-star recruit in the 2022 class, the number 4 defensive lineman per On 3 Sports. He will have 3 years of eligibility remaining. Not only does this guy have really high pedigree, the ability to be a top-tier player, but he has a lot of eligibility remaining as well. And a South Carolina team that's known for creating really, really talented interior defensive linemen. Think this is going to be a big time get for the Gamecocks. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Carolina fans, in the comment section below, don't get into the college football playoff. That's okay. We do have the Citrus Bowl ahead of us as well. So let us know against the Fighting Illini. What do you think the record or the score to that game is going to be? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. December 31st against the Fighting Illini. What do you think the final score is going to be for the Gamecocks in the comment section below? But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this latest move for South Carolina?
Well, so first and foremost, it's obviously a quality transfer portal move to add another piece to this defensive line. Of course, you got Dylan Stewart moving forward. This is going to be a great defensive front. And it really was obviously quarterback playing a big role. I'm not going to deny that. But really, this defensive front was the catalyst to South Carolina making the run they did this season, falling just short of making the college football playoff and heading into 2025 with momentum to really be one of the favorites to potentially make the playoff next year. Exciting time in Columbia. But I think what we're seeing here from South Carolina is something we see a lot of time in the business world, specifically startups, right? When these startups start out, and like Craigslist is a great example, if anyone remembers Craigslist back in the day. When Craigslist was starting, they basically wanted to be like a social media network, right? They had no idea what they were doing. They were scrambling around doing a bunch of different things, trying to find a bunch of different strategies. And then one day they just found a way that like, hey, what if we let people post things for sale? And they did that and it stuck and it blew up, right? That's how things happen, right? You just find a strategy, you find a way of attack that you're good at for whatever reason, and it just sticks. And then you just have to commit to it, right? You don't have to be focused on what you want to be. You find what works and you commit to it. And I think that's what Beamer has discovered with his ability to, him and his staff, his ability to recruit, whether through transfers or high school kids, and develop defensive linemen, specifically defensive ends. We've seen it really the best part of the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously, everyone's focused, wide receivers, running backs, DBs, right? Obviously, quarterback position. Who can get the 4 and 5 stars? Who can develop those positions the best? Carolina, look, it's a tough deal to go up against Georgia, to go up against Tennessee, to go up against LSU, to go up against, even the Florida Gators with their recruiting sometimes to try and find a way to get the best quarterbacks and receivers and all that year in and year out. But what you can do is find something that you just, for whatever reason, are better than them at, which right now it's recruiting and developing defensive ends and going after that position group, making it your priority. Find what you can be the best in the world at and fully commit to it. That's classic business advice, and that's exactly what Beamer is doing here. It's one of the smartest moves I've seen so far this offseason. Going into the transfer portal, a lot of programs like, oh, we need to fix our roster. Let's go get a quarterback. Let's go get a receiver. Let's go get a DB. Let's go get 3 running backs. Whatever it may be. It's a lot of spray and pray. South Carolina, very focused, very intentional. They're like, we are really good at evaluating defensive linemen. Let's make that a priority. Let's get after it. And that's exactly what they did here. Phenomenal move by Beamer.
Yeah, and again, I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is a South Carolina team, like you said, offensively. with the quarterback play they've seen the last couple of weeks, that are set up to be a really, really good team there, no matter who is going to be around the ball. But there is a couple of guys leaving on the defensive side of the ball, so I think this is going to be a big, big get. Obviously, Kyle Kennard's going to leave. Obviously, Tonka Hemingway, a great local guy, the interior part of the defensive line, he's leaving. So no matter where this guy comes into play for South Carolina, I think there's some really good openings for on this defensive line for guys to come in and show their stuff. I think Shane Beamer, like you said, is the coach to do that. He's able to find guys, get guys, develop them, make them top tier prospects. You know, I think this is a great move. I think we're gonna see some growth and development out of I think Brownlow Dindy is how you say it. I think he's gonna be a good player for the Gamecocks. But like you said, Shane Beamer, he's doing a lot of stuff. I think the latest news, you see South Carolina, they lose their offensive coordinator. What do? They fire back. They go hit the transfer portal, bring in a really great guy. I'm not too worried about the offensive coordinator. I think they're going to fill the position very nicely. And heck, the quarterback, he's looking like he can run the offense by himself the way he makes plays with his legs. But nothing but good things for Carolina lately. I think this is a program on the up and up, like you said, one of the favorites to be in the college football playoff. And I'm excited to see how this guy plays out for them.
And just a couple final points to hit on here that's really important. Not only is it part of Beamer's strategy, look who he's beating out, right? He's beating out fellow conference rivals, obviously getting the transfer, the kids from Texas A&M, right? Beating out Texas A&M. This kid's from Lakeland, Florida, obviously would have connections to the Florida Gators, to the Georgia Bulldogs, probably a little bit more, at least geographically, than the South Carolina Gamecocks. He beats them out as well. So not only is this a really smart strategy, focusing on the defensive line, understanding that's an area you're good at, it's beating out your competition in doing it. That's another element that makes this move really solid for South Carolina. So you're basically stealing a top quality defensive lineman, a position group you know better than anybody, from your entire competitive base. Great job by South Carolina. Great job by Beamer and his staff. More momentum with the Gamecocks program right now.